What makes you afraid? Some of All Fear lives at the crossroads between our greatest phobias and the horror movies we love to experience. Part pop culture and part psychology. It's time to find out why we're all so scared of the dark.
Are you ready to start the show?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
It's party time.
Yeah?
Excellent.
You ready to tickle some ear balls?
Oh, no. I am ready to tickle some fear balls.
Some fear balls?
Some fear balls.
You're going to tickle some fear balls?
Some black, puffy little fear balls.
Black? Why are they black?
I don't know. For some reason, when I thought of fear balls, I thought of Chief, my old cat, before he got neutered. He had like
Fluffy
the cutest little fluffy, they look like little black dyed fluffy cotton balls, and they were so cute. And so when I thought of fear balls, and we're such good friends with Fear by now.
Oh, gotcha. They're fluffy little fear balls.
They're fluffy little fear balls.
Alrighty then. Well, welcome back, Feardos. We are the Some of All Fear podcast, the show that talks about real life phobias from a mental health perspective, and then pairs those fears with horror movies that prey on them. I'm Drew, a writer and horror nerd, and this is my super awesome wife, Kris, a professional mental health therapist.
Oh, hey.
Yeah. So, you know what else, Kris?
What?
I heard that we're being called the Gomez and Morticia Adams of podcasting. You like that?
Mon cher.
You think that's true?
Mon cher.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, Gomez would say, when we're together, darling, every night is Halloween.
Oh, can we have that on our gravestones?
That'd be rad. I like that. Oh, fun week. Not bad.
Yeah,
Got some stuff done.
It was a fine week.
Yeah, we went and saw Jesse Dayton and the Blasters.
Jesse Dayton was so much fun.
It was a really good show. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. And both those guys have horror movie ties, which is cool because Jesse Dayton was on the soundtracks of a couple of Rob Zombie movies, and he was like a character in
Halloween 3?
Halloween 2.
Oh, 2.
Yeah. Captain Clegg and the Night Creatures was the band, and they played a bunch in the movie.
Which Captain Clegg is a reference to Rob Zombie's Captain Clegg? Wait, no,
Jesse Dayton is Captain Clegg.
That's what I'm saying. Is that a reference to Rob Zombie's?
Rob Zombie's what?
Isn't the clown named?
No, you're talking about Spaulding? Captain Spaulding?
Why did I think that?
Well, Captain. I can see.
Maybe.
I can see the correlation.
The rest just fell apart.
No, Captain Spaulding was the clown from House of a Thousand Corpses and Devil's Rejects.
That's my dementia setting in.
Good stuff. We're gonna talk some clowns today. Are you excited?
I'm very excited.
I am really pumped about this episode.
Fun topic, and so fun that we're gonna do it twice.
We're gonna do it twice. We're gonna do a part 1 and a part 2 because we could not cover this fear in one episode.
It's so nice.
I'm still studying.
Do it twice.
I'm still reading stuff on it and watching movies. So I feel like I haven't even scratched the surface yet.
No,
and here we are.
And we haven't scratched the surface on weird clown thrift store finds yet either.
Oh man, I found like the creepiest, most pedophilic bell.
Gacy would have loved it.
It was creepy. It was just like this clown, like I know it was supposed to be sweet because the clown's like hugging this little kid and like wiping away his tears, but it looked so creepy. I did not like it. But I also found 2 clowns that were music boxes that you wind up that are like little dolls. Those were creepy. Those
and then the movie that we watched had those in it. Remember?
That's right.
Or wait, no, not the movie. American Horror Story Freak Show.
Yes.
He wound those up.
We rewatched American Horror Story Freak Show yesterday a little bit.
So that was kind of fun.
Yeah. And he and Twisty wound up one of the a clown all like wind up.
It was gnarly.
Yeah. So clowns are going to be fun. I'm excited.
So much fun.
Stay tuned, folks. It's going to get crazy up in this bitch. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
No?
I'm just looking at you.
Why are you looking at me? Oh, so good week. Did you have a good week?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah?
How was your week?
Not bad. I did my own self-help program.
I know. I really enjoyed watching.
I'm really trying since I've been out of work. So I've been kind of, it's hard to get yourself motivated every day. And so I'm trying this thing that I did successfully a couple of times this week.
3 days.
Which was, I'm calling it one thing a day. And I'm just trying to do one physical thing, like go for a long walk, do one family thing, or do one professional thing. That way I don't get overwhelmed and try to do too much and just do one thing like really well. So,
right.
And it worked pretty well.
Small bites. For 3 days.
Yeah. Not bad.
And then we went and saw Jesse Daniel.
Jesse
and then
Dayton.
we took off
Jesse
Why did I
Daniels.
say Daniel?
Because he's the other country singer.
Right.
He's good too.
Then we went and saw Jesse Dayton. And then you took Thursday off.
Yeah, I took Thursday off because I was hungover. And then so Thursday was useless. And then Friday, I did a couple of little things, but was also fairly useless. And then decided to go out last night until 2:30 in the morning.
And philosophize.
Yeah, and see my buddy Billy, he's always gone for work for weeks at a time, so I don't see him very often. So,
but we also saw, or not we, you also saw Nikki, and Nikki, she has a birthday this weekend. Happy birthday, Nikki!
Nikki has a birthday this weekend.
Her birthday Sunday.
I did not know that.
Oh my gosh!
I saw her last night. I
yes.
didn't wish her happy birthday.
Well, happy birthday, Nikki
Knuckles. Oh,
Nikki Nux.
yeah.
I love that woman. She's amazing.
And she listens to the podcast.
Oh,
Thanks for being a Feardo, Nikki.
the best Feardo.
Yeah, and she's a great bartender, and she's great to go sit and talk horror movies with.
And she loves dogs. And speaking of dogs, I actually had kind of a nervous breakdown this week about my dog Atlas, who's been limping on her leg a little bit, but lately it's been a little bit more, and I've been honestly too scared to take her in because I just kind of didn't want to face what might be wrong. But
you did.
I know I did. Face your fears, right?
And we got great news. And it wasn't nearly as bad as we thought it was.
It wasn't
a tear.
It wasn't an
Yeah, it was
ACL
good.
tear like she
Not going to be
thought.
crazy expensive,
Well, I don't know how expensive it's going to be,
but
but
not
it's
as expensive as it could
right.
have been.
And and the thing that she actually has is called a joint mouse.
Huh?
So it's kind of a cute name, is what the doctor said. She's like, no, okay, it's kind of a cute name. She has a joint mouse. And basically it's like a little piece of cartilage or maybe bone from an injury a while back that has broken off and is floating in the joint, and then accumulates calcium on it, and then kind of irritates the surrounding tissue and causes inflammation and causes pain. So, 2 weeks of pretty strict rest for an Aussie Shepherd is going to be.
Yeah, because they like to run around and do crazy stuff.
And one of those weeks I'm in Seattle. So that's going to be all on you. Thank you.
She'll be fine.
But that was a great piece of my Friday.
Yeah, we got good news in that. That was awesome. So that has been our week, I think, mostly. Let's
And
kind of
I
recap.
You went out last night, and I spent the night at home watching season, what is it, 3 or 4? Freak Show
I think
season
it's
of
3.
American.
I think it's 3 or 4.
Of American Horror Story, and doing my research and kind of introverting all night.
You're good at that.
With my dog.
That's your favorite thing to do.
I have gotten really good at introverting. Thank you.
We may go float the river today.
I'm
It's
excited.
a really nice day.
It's
We're going to float the
beautiful
Truckee
out.
River with some tubes.
Oh, it's beautiful.
I like it.
No one come to Reno. It's awful here.
Well, that's enough boring you with our lives.
Boring holes.
If you like the show, guys, if you've been listening and you enjoy it and you like hearing us ramble on about these things, we would love to get to know you on social media. So come join us. Come join the conversation at Some of All Fear Podcast on Facebook and at Some of All Fear Pod on Twitter and Instagram. And if the spirit moves you, you can support us on Patreon.
Hallelujah.
Like our awesome Feardo friends, James from the Eek Channel podcast. Go check it out.
Follow their pages because they have really fun social media page.
Yeah, they do a great job on their Instagram for sure. And I think they finally started a Twitter because I was talking to him about starting a Twitter.
I'm not a twatter,
Yeah.
but I know they're frequently on Instagram and Facebook,
Yeah.
and it's a lot of fun.
And our other Patreon, Toby from McKinney, Texas. So we thank you. And
Sup, Toby?
of course, please go to your podcast apps, guys, and give us a rating and review, and we will give you a shout out on the show. And if anybody wants some stickers, anybody at all, just shoot us a message
That
with
means
your
you.
address, and we will send you some.
Yeah, we'll pay for it.
I got a bunch of them, so
We'll send them over.
get them out there.
Yeah.
In the world. One's kind of cool. It's like kind of thin and says, "I'm a Feardo." And the other one just has like our logo.
The creepy shadow in the
Kinda fun.
background.
Cool. Well, let's dive into what the fear so we can get our move on into our topic today, because I am pumped to talk some creepy clowns, man.
You're an eager beaver.
I am. It's one of my favorite horror things. I do really love clowns.
I'm getting more
I'm
into
not scared
it.
of them. I really like them. I think they're super fun.
They're fucking creepy.
Yeah, they're rad. So you ready?
Yeah.
All right. It's time for the world's greatest phobia-based trivia game.
say it now.
What the fear?
There you go. Okay, you have to say it like that. Yeah, instead of my scat, it was a
the circus
tip
noise
to the circus.
I like it. Very appropriate.
Thank you.
Very episode appropriate, Kris.
I practiced that all week.
Well done. Well, it's time for What the Fear, folks. The trivia game that where we talk about a phobia and give you some hints, give you the name, and then you have to guess what the phobia is of.
And folks, if you scream loud enough, I can hear you through time and space.
Yeah, like The Price is Right.
Mm-hmm.
But
$1
through
time and space.
$1. $2,416. and then the guy picks $1
and 1 cent.
So hey, I was out late last night. All right, I'm a tad bit not all there.
Let's talk about whose responsibility and
it was my responsibility. I'm not claiming anybody else is responsible for my actions, Kris. I'm just saying if things go off the rails a slight bit today, that's my excuse. Okay. It's my excuse. I'm not saying I'm not responsible.
So that's your excuse for sucking.
It's my excuse for sucking. Yes. Yeah.
You should be wearing your try not to suck shirt.
You know what? Try not to suck with these words. All right. Because you're going to suck it right here.
Oh, that was last episode.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Are you ready for your word?
Yeah.
All right. It's terrophobia. PTERIDO phobia. Pteridophobia. Sorry. Pteridophobia. See? Already starting.
Pteridophobia?
Pteridophobia.
Okay, what's my hint?
All right. Your hint is if you had this phobia, you'd really have a hard time roaming the earth 145 million years ago. Well, these plants were everywhere.
These plants were everywhere?
These plants were everywhere.
You son of a bitch.
You were going to say pterodactyl, weren't you?
No, I was going to say birds.
Birds?
But
that would be incorrect.
I know.
Is that your guess?
No.
Damn it.
I said I was gonna. It's on tape.
Whatever.
So
just give me an answer.
Plants.
Nerd glasses. She's wearing the biggest nerd glasses right now.
You love it.
Big old giant nerd glasses.
These are my blue blocky
She's
glasses.
like the before of like She's All That, where like they take the glasses off and then they let the hair down.
I take a lot of pride in that because if you see this every day and like I go out like this in public, when you see me done up, it is majestic. Like it looks amazing. So, I like to call that the difference gap.
All right. Give me a guess here. All right.
Pteridophobia.
Pteridophobia.
And you said something about plants.
Yes. If you had this phobia, you'd really have a hard time roaming the earth 145 million years ago. These plants were everywhere.
These plants. I know nothing of plants.
You know a lot about plants. You have plants everywhere. We just went to the nursery yesterday.
I have plants from the nursery that I went. Those are pretty. And I barely know how to take care of them. And I'm proud they're still alive, which is why I keep getting more.
I'm sure there were some of these plants there.
Fear of orchids.
Ooh.
Or not tulips. What do I have over there?
Those are flowers.
Yeah.
Incorrect.
I don't know.
The fear of ferns.
A fern.
Ferns.
I only have one fern in the house, and it's the hardest one to keep alive.
It's the fear of ferns. And I'm interested to know if it has something to do with like the little tiny way that like the
symmetry.
Yeah, something about that. Like almost like trypophobia. I'd be curious to see if that's part of the reason why there's a fear of ferns. Because other than that, excuse me.
Why do you keep burping?
I'm burping because I had chilaquiles for breakfast. Chilaquiles
and a burrito.
And a breakfast burrito. And I went out drinking last night. All right. That's why I'm burping.
Lord, you're such a hot mess.
I am a mess.
Today.
All right. I am a mess. So whatever bodily functions occur during this episode, I am not responsible for.
I'm glad chair's leather.
I'm now shirking my responsibility on Jalapenos 2 across the street.
Oh. This podcast sponsored to you by.
Brought to you by Jalapenos 2, the best Mexican food in Reno.
And the second best runs.
All right. Are you ready for your second one?
Absolutely.
All right. 0 for 1.
0 for 1.
My hints are getting more challenging.
Yeah.
All right. Koinonophobia. Koinonophobia. KOI N-O-N-I phobia. Koinonophobia.
Okay.
A tour of the Winchester house might send a koinonophobic into major panic attack mode, since there are 160 of these in the house.
Fear of doors.
Ooh, close, but wrong.
Damn.
Fear of rooms.
Oh.
There's 160 rooms in the Winchester house, and koinonophobia is the fear of rooms, which is do they not go into anywhere? Because isn't a room like any place that you're inside?
Maybe it's fear of multiple, like many rooms.
It just says fear of rooms. I don't know. That's the phobia.
Okay. That's really interesting.
Yeah.
That was a good clue.
Yeah. The Winchester house has a lot of
I was
those.
thinking it was doors.
I've never been there. I want to go.
I was thinking it was doors because there are doors that lead to nowhere. And that
there are. I thought you might say staircases.
I almost
because they
did,
have those
but
weird
then
little short staircases.
I almost did, but then I was like, no, I know there's not that many staircases.
All right. 0 for 2.
Mm.
Some nerd glasses aren't going to help you now.
Hold on, I'm sparkling their magical powers. No, just getting the smudge
she was
out of
literally
it.
getting the smudge out and putting them back on.
Okay.
Put them back on slower though. Bite the corner a little bit. There you go. Oh, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah. All right. Your third and final fear today is lockiophobia. Lockiophobia. L-O-C-K-I-O phobia.
Okay.
It might not be too difficult to understand why this would be a fear, especially when you hear there can be tearing involved. Luckily, if you're a guy, you won't have to worry about it.
Oh, do I have this?
Yes, you do.
This is the fear of giving birth.
The fear of childbirth. Very, very, very good.
You bitch.
Yep. The fear of
when
childbirth.
you said it, I immediately recoiled. Like if I was a man and had balls, they would have gone back up into my body, and my body was like, yeah.
Your vagina balls went up into your body.
My vagina balls. Got really afraid.
Lochiophobic you are.
Yep. Yeah, no, I commend
I don't know why I said that like Yoda, but lochiophobic you are.
I commend every single woman out there that has gone through any sort of childbearing or birthing of any kind. You are superhuman.
It's a hell of a process, man.
No, I am no good for it. I'm good. I remember where this comes from too. Freshman year of high school health class, our health teacher literally played the birthing video. It was like 10 minutes long for the entire 50 minutes. No, he played it on repeat for the entire 50-minute period. Effective, y'all.
Abstinence education.
Effective. No, yeah. No way after that.
All right. Well, let's dive fucking head first into this amazing phobia.
Let's dive giant shoes first.
Giant
and red nose first.
Floppy feet first.
And scary smile first.
We are going to be talking about the fear of clowns.
Of clowns.
Part 1. We're going to dive into part 1, which is going to be Killer Clowns from Outer Space and Terrifier. And we'll probably throw in a few other movies here and there. Just because there's so many good ones that I wanted to cover. And then next week, we're counting down to the release of It Chapter 2.
Yoo-hoo!
So we will be covering the It series, the book, the mini-series, It Chapter 1, and It Chapter 2.
We'll be
recording it the day after we see it. So
we'll be covering all of it.
Yeah, all of it. Yes,
all of it. Sum of it.
So, strap on your hats and glasses, folks.
This is going.
Is this a return from last week's episode?
This is going as smooth as a baby's butthole, isn't it? Isn't that what you said earlier?
I did. I said that's as smooth as a baby's butthole, and it didn't sound nearly the way I wanted it to sound. It sounded much creepier because it's supposed to be smooth as a baby's butt, but that did not.
I was like, what?
That did not come out properly. There's a big difference between saying smooth as a baby's butt and smooth as a baby's butthole.
It killed me. Oh my God.
There's a big difference between those two. I feel like we smoked a bunch of weed before this episode. What's going on?
Well, you have a lack of sleep and I am just tickled by you. So
Tickled. tickled, just like clowns do.
With your fear balls.
All right. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. Let's go ahead and dive into our phobia for today. Coulrophobia, the fear of clowns. Hey, Kris.
Hey, Drew.
Have you ever thought about starting your own podcast?
Why, yes, I have.
When we were trying to get this podcast off the ground, we had a lot of questions. Like, how do I record an episode? How do I get my show into all the apps people like to listen to? How do we make money podcasting? The answer to every one of these questions is really simple. Anchor. Anchor is a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing your podcast. And best of all, it's 100% free and ridiculously easy to use. And now, Anchor can match you with great sponsors who want to advertise on your podcast. That means you can get paid to podcast right away. In fact, that's what I'm doing right now just by reading this ad.
Right now?
Right now.
Right now.
Right now.
Right now?
That means if you want to get a podcast going and make money doing it, go to anchor.fm/start. Join me and Kris and the diverse community of podcasters already using Anchor. That's anchor.fm/start. We can't wait to hear your podcast.
Well, I'm funny how? I mean, funny like I'm a clown. I amuse you.
People hate clowns now.
I hate clowns.
I don't like chicken, and I hate clowns.
I hate that clown.
The hell is wrong with you?
Oh.
I hate clowns.
Clowns! I hate clowns!
Why are you yelling at me?
Whatever, make me a bicycle clown!
I'm Krusty the Clown, and I don't like you.
Hey, clown. Clown.
Clowns.
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 Except clowns.
Not much anymore, except clowns, but that's just common sense.
Well, I'm Pennywise, the dancing clown.
What's the matter, kid? Don't you like clowns? Why? Don't we make you laugh? Aren't we fucking funny? You best come up with an answer, because I'm going to come back here and check on you and your mama. If you ain't got a reason why you hate clowns, I'm going to kill your whole fucking family.
But where are the clowns? Send in the clowns.
All right, coulrophobia, the fear of clowns. This is like probably one of our most widely requested episodes, without a doubt. I think people dig the clown stuff.
They dig it and they simultaneously hate it.
We have some friends who are actually like legitimately afraid of clowns.
Yeah, my good friend Ginger Juggernaut, or Jugs. She's
That was not her given name.
Yeah, it was given,
not her birth name.
It was given somewhere. That's how I
name.
know her. She actually has coulrophobia, pretty badly, and it's no joke.
No. I mean, I think any of these fears, I mean, they are legitimate. They, we exploit them, and horror movies exploit them, but some people it's a big deal, man. Not cool. What's interesting about clowns? So let me give the etymology real quick as I'm burping into the microphone. I'm really having a hard time not belching right into the microphone. Coulrophobia comes from the Greek, and this is an interesting one because there isn't a one-to-one correspondence with a word that means clown in Greek. So they kind of played with it a little bit. This phobia kind of was coined, the term was coined in the 80s at some point, 80s, early 90s. And it comes from the Greek kolobathristas, which means one who walks on stilts.
Interesting.
Or it could come from kolobathron, which just means stilts. But I think that's it's kind of a take on it, on what a clown does, kind of a performer. But back then, and even if you go back to like ancient Egypt, there was kind of like court jester type people. And then, but really the Greek and the Roman times was where we really see the concept of a clown kind of start to take shape. And they had what was called a zany, or a rustic fool. And this was kind of Roman theater, you would see this character kind of pop up here and there. And so that was kind of the early great grandparents of what a modern clown is.
Was it really focused towards adults then?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
It was more of an adult a comedy or an adult thing that people would participate in.
Absolutely.
Was going and seeing the jesters or
and it was a character a lot of times, and then later we see it, like as we get into like the 16th century, like the 1560s, we start to see in the Italian commedia dell'arte. Sounds very, very fancy.
Italian's so sexy.
Commedia dell'arte.
Oh.
We start to see this.
Sploosh.
We start to see this kind of rustic fool character kind of expanded on.
I prefer rustic fool. What happened to that?
I don't know. But the first and the first use of the word clown, like actually use of the word clown, was in the 1560s, and it was used to kind of denote that fool character. And it shows up. It shows up in Shakespeare's Othello and in The Winter's Tale. And so we see that from like the 1600s to the 1800s, we see that kind of court jester, clown, fool character kind of played out right throughout that period of time. We don't really see what we consider like our modern circus clown really until the 1800s.
So the purpose then before the 1800s was really like jesters kind of provided a safety valve for poking fun at maybe famous people or, things that were happening in their society that was familiar with. It was kind of like a modern day roast.
Kind of. Yeah. Yeah. A lot of times. And it really depended on the context. Like sometimes they were used mischievously as like a foil. Sometimes they were used. So it was different depending on the situation. Right. We see the jester kind of used in a lot of movies and stuff is like, the king brings out the jester who's like some poor schmuck who has to dance or play music or do something, before what's little kid king from Game of Thrones. What's his name?
Joffrey.
Before Joffrey does something evil to him.
Joffrey had his jesters that were making fun of all of the kingdoms. Game of Thrones references here for y'all that don't know. Yeah. And so we see that in
he was very mean to them. There
was a purpose to the jesters though, and it was to appease the adults.
Right.
When did it kind of transition to kids?
Well, I don't know that it ever was just geared towards kids. I mean, I think the clown initially was a circus performer.
Sure.
This modern clown that we see now, we see it, and in the 1800s, they were just kind of brought out to as filler between like equestrian acts and things like that in the circuses. So they were still entertaining the adults, and I'm sure, and the children,
right?
At the same time, kind of like a rodeo clown does now, right? It comes out in between events and kind of entertains the whole crowd.
If there was an award for most heroic clown.
Oh yeah, rodeo clowns, man. Those guys are badass.
People dig rodeo clowns. I don't know of anybody that's like, ooh, rodeo clown.
Yeah, rodeo clowns are badass.
They're
dude.
just different.
They're way tougher than bull riders. Dude.
Yeah,
those guys put themselves in some serious.
That's
danger.
like a clown that will fuck himself up for you.
That's right.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So then as we get into like the 1900s, and especially once we get towards like 1950, 1960. That's when we start to see this like clown character really kind of taking shape as like you're saying, like the children's clown, right? And Bozo was the first big one. So we have the Bozo show that pops up in like 1959, 1960, somewhere in there. And that becomes a kind of a national famous clown persona, right? It was regional at first, and then it spread and became a big national deal. And I remember waking up even in the early 80s at like 2 or 3 years old, and Bozo was one of the first things that was on in the morning.
That's so funny that you say that you say 2 or 3 because pediatric phobias like fear of clowns or like sports mascots or Mickey Mouse, like big characterizations appears around age 2 and 3. That's when this fear develops, and it's somehow linked to like a stranger anxiety, also blended with the infant or the young child's new abilities for for blending fantasy and reality. They can't quite separate it. And it makes clowns and those kinds of funhouse characters that much more frightening.
Well, that's got to be kind of the uncanny valley thing too, right? Like you've got this thing that looks kind of like it's supposed to, but not quite. And so there's that little bit of like, no, this isn't, I don't really like this. This isn't really how it's supposed to look.
Right. And that I looked a little bit more into the uncanny, and Freud actually talked about the uncanny and how we're often frightened by something that's familiar, but yet unfamiliar at the same time. So for instance, medical oddities, somebody who has a lot of freckles. I had a college roommate and
Super
babies.
hot. I like freckles.
And babies used to stare at her because they just didn't know what was going on because she was covered head to toe in freckles, and
she did have a lot of freckles.
They just had never seen anything quite like that. So, any kind of difference in other human beings, people notice more easily than they notice the similarities. And that can actually cause fear and discomfort. So that's what we see when
we see a clown, right? That's so we see kind of the same thing. We see something that's it's not quite right.
Or, circus freak shows.
Right.
That was that kind of fear-based ambiguity. We're not quite sure what to expect because we know it's familiar, but it's at the same time unfamiliar, and our brain doesn't know what to do with that. And so it kind of goes right into kind of that fear-based ambiguity.
Yeah. And it's funny. So I remember like at 2 or 3 watching Bozo. That was my first, I think that was the first clown thing that I can remember. And I don't think I was ever, I may have been too little to really be like super into it, but I remember enjoying it and watching it and not being freaked out by it. Fun fact, by the way, Bozo the Clown, one of the very first Bozos was Willard Scott, the weatherman from the Today Show. He was Bozo from 1959 to 1962. And then he went on to develop another famous clown persona, Ronald McDonald. He was the very first Ronald McDonald mascot.
Have you noticed that Ronald McDonald is kind of like slowly inched his way out of all marketing materials at McDonald's?
Yeah, he really hasn't popped up that.
If you drive by a Ronald McDonald house, there's no longer a picture; it's a silhouette.
Yeah, that's true, huh?
You cannot
and it's probably because of the fear of clowns, right? People have basically developed. This is a thing that has developed in society, right? It's not like it's something it's understandable. I'm sure there were some people who did not like clowns before the 1970s or whatever.
Sure.
But it really became a phenomena once we got into, once we had John Wayne Gacy, right? So we have John Wayne Gacy, kills all these people, hides them under his house, and we find out he was also a clown. Performed at children's birthday parties, and Pogo the Clown, and when we went to the Museum of Death, he has all of these paintings of Pogo the Clown, his persona that he painted. And they have them at the Museum of Death.
Oh, it's so creepy.
Pretty creepy.
But you're right. There really is, when you boil it down, 2 types of fear. There's innate fear, like the fear of heights that we talked about, or the fear of depths. That's an innate fear. That's something that we don't have to learn, through trial and error. That is scary. The other one is that learned fear. So clowns is a learned fear. And we can see why, but we can see why nowadays because they have been transformed and kind of underlined with a narrative that includes something that is very mischievously evil.
Yeah. And so we get the evil clown trope, right? That becomes a thing. And honestly, it was used a little bit in literature in like the 1800s. Edgar Allan Poe had a character that was like a mischievous evil clown. And then we see the Joker pop up, right, in the comics.
Which my favorite character.
Excuse me.
By far.
Burping again.
You are so gross
Shut
today.
Up. And we see the Joker popping up, right? And so the Joker was obviously this maniacal character,
He was-
opposite of
His job was to reflect a funhouse mirror back on society in Gotham. He was this like maniacal, but you also kind of liked him, especially if we look at the Joker from my favorite Joker, Heath Ledger's Joker. Although
from Batman Returns,
the new
Batman
Joker,
Returns? Is that right?
I don't know. Although no, it's Dark Knight.
Dark Knight. Sorry.
Although the new Joker looks badass too.
Oh,
But
it looks really good.
They
Yeah,
can,
I'm excited for that.
They
one.
can kind of garner
Joaquin Phoenix, right?
Yeah.
looks
They can
good.
kind of garner our sympathy, as well as they can draw us in a little and bring down our guard. And at the same time, we can still be creeped out. And that creeped out feeling is feeling slightly threatened, but not enough to run or act.
Yeah.
And so they kind of incite just enough in us.
Well, I think there's always that like sympathetic kind of, the clowns always just seem kind of sad, right? The tears of a clown, like even the happiest clown has that like little bit of melancholy or that little bit of like sadness. I always think of like Send in the Clowns and all those songs, right? Tears of a Clown and that kind of stuff. But they have that little bit of just a touch of, there's something behind the makeup that's not, there's a reason why they want to put that front up.
And that makes us uneasy. And there's actually a number of famous clowns. One in particular I want to share. His name is Grimaldi, and his name came from the fact that he is grim all day.
Well, and was he Italian?
But he'll make you laugh all night.
Oh, is that what it was?
So it was Grimaldi.
Huh.
Grim all day. So that was his name, and that's where it came from. Grim all day. And he was going to make you laugh at night. And so his one of the biographies or the little excerpts
one of the most famous
him,
like original clowns,
really one of the most famous, stated that for every laugh that he suffered commiserate pain. So for every laugh he gave people, he suffered equal amounts of pain.
Yeah,
so it was just very dark at the same time as it is light
thing, with these guys. And so I think there was always that like sad clown, sympathetic clown, the hobo clown. There was, we had the blackface clown that was, the kind of racist motif. We had the buffoon, we had the harlequin, we had the jester, the mime artist, the Pierrot that came up in
the Pierrot.
Scary Stories.
It did. Oh my gosh. It's like, I'm a Pierrot.
The Pirouette, the Pierrot and the Pirouette, the Pueblo, the rodeo clown, the tramp or the hobo, and the whiteface clown. And so there was a lot of different types of clowns, and they all had different types of personas. Like they all had very distinct kind of personalities and what they kind of did as they performed.
Like their jobs almost,
right,
or their
right.
mechanisms of delivery.
But I think they all had that little bit of like, yeah, I don't know, just don't really know what to expect from these guys. Like, is it going to be, are they going to be straightforward? Are they going to be mischievous? Are they going to be, a little bit evil? Are they going to be a little bit, whatever? There's always that little bit of like mistrust, I think, with these guys.
They're very inconsistent, and the things about them physically, like their unusual patterns of eye contact, coupled with nonverbal behaviors, their disguises or makeup to kind of hide their true identity, or their feelings, where they've got a big smile, but maybe we see the face underneath really expresses a lot of anguish and anger. And then also the pairing of unusual physical characteristics, like the big noses, tiny little hats, like big ass shoes, hair, like it's just like, it's very inconsistent, and it really puts us on edge. And I can see why it's so terrifying. So
what's interesting, so as far as kind of continuing through the history, we had Joker, and then in like the 60s, National Lampoon actually had an evil clown character that was recurring in their magazine, named Frenchie the Clown.
Huh.
And I had never heard of Frenchie the Clown, because I'd always heard like, it was Stephen King and John Wayne Gacy and blah, blah, blah. But before all of that, there was an evil clown character in National Lampoon that kind of led us into the 70s, where we started to have these
more and more.
We had the Gacy stuff, and then we had Poltergeist, right? We had the Clown and Poltergeist. Then we had Stephen King come out with It in 1986, and then it became, Stephen King sealed the deal with evil clowns. Like they popped up here and there in movies and some other places, even going back to the 50s and 60s.
But no one really,
but not like it was like the straight up evil clown as a genre in horror, you know, and as a national kind of or international
it took on a new
thing, you know,
new heights.
And it just became part of our psyche, right? Part of our psyche as a society.
Well, yeah, there's a Facebook page now with 4,800 likes. So yeah, lots of people hate clowns so much that they would seek out a Facebook page about how much they hate clowns.
I can see why. I can see why. So that's kind of the history of it. And then obviously we get into the 80s and the 90s and the 2000s and now, and, you know, now there's been dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of clown horror movies. We see popping up in like American Horror Story, in video games, in pretty much, you know, anywhere you see clowns almost anymore, they are that evil clown motif. It's more common to see them as evil than it is to see them as like happy and fun and, you know, fun for the kids and that kind of stuff, which really pisses off the National Clown Association, by the way. They do not like this.
It's not part of the clown commandments and ethics.
No, you know, what's funny, my brother was a clown in high school. Yeah. Our next door neighbor, Ellen, was a clown, and she was like a full, like totally into it clown that performed at birthday parties and everything. And my brother in high school trained with her and went to clown college, I guess he went to clown college and got his whole deal and went and started assisting her.
That's amazing.
For a little while. Isn't that hilarious?
Wow. I didn't know he went to clown college.
I'm sure there's a picture of him somewhere.
Is he one of those clowns that was like roaming around in Texas, like just creeping people out in rural towns?
That was fun. And the Wasco one was great because my uncle, well, my mom's uncle, my great uncle lived in Wasco. So it was funny. I was like, I know where Wasco is. Wasco clown sightings. That
actually spawned something called the phantom clown theory, which attributes the proliferation of clown sightings to mass hysteria, especially in young children. So young children basically
just see them
kind of
places.
See them or quote unquote air quotes.
I don't know,
see
man.
Them.
I'm totally all about dressing up as a clown and just wandering and staring at people.
Yeah, we were
standing.
The one year that we went to Chicago for Halloween, you were Twisty from American Horror Story.
Yeah.
And I have never seen anyone get more of a response from a costume. And I never saw another person, never in fucking Chicago, I never saw another person dressed as Twisty,
which is weird because it was that
right
spirit.
After that season too,
and it wasn't even like I made the costume or anything. It was off the rack. Well, I got a lot of attention for that one. I got a lot of pictures.
Didn't you fill a bag with like baby parts and like underwear?
Oh yeah, it was super creepy. Yeah,
that was the best.
Yeah, I went full bore.
That was so good.
Yeah,
I love that costume.
And it had legs too, because I used it we went to a lot of parties and we were in Chicago and we came back home and went to parties. I got a lot of great pictures. I actually posted one, the Fear of Clowns one I posted on social media. When I said it was coming up, coming soon, that was me as Twisty in Billy's bathroom when he had that party.
There's such good pictures of you in that bathroom, like with that. that he had the actual bone saw that freaked me out.
And all the medical equipment, because he works in the medical industry. So he has all this medical equipment, like just in his garage.
That was a badass Halloween party.
Pretty cool. And his birthday's around Halloween. So he's going to have another big 40-year-old
40
birthday party coming up here next month.
You're catching up with him.
So what else do you have on this clown stuff?
Oh gosh. Well, Johnny Depp actually had nightmares as a kid that included clowns. So he isn't super fond of them. I wouldn't say he's got a fear. The only other thing I wanted to mention, because I kind of sprinkled that whole history thing with a lot of psychology facts, is that there was actually a 2008 study that concluded that when the decor of a children's hospital ward included clowns, it actually created the opposite of a nurturing environment, even if children had never seen clowns before.
Really?
Right.
I remember children's wards having clowns all over. Yeah.
So about 2008, when they did this study, overall, they found that the children found clowns frightening and unknowable. And I thought that was
unknowable is a good word.
Great word for clowns. Like you see them and they're there in front of you and they're making you laugh and they're making you feel scared and you can't really know them. And I thought that was supremely interesting, especially because it ties back in with the clown code of ethics, one of which is you're never seen outside of a party in your makeup or in character. So that's part of the code of ethics, is to maintain that kind of
Your
duality and persona.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's a little unnerving about clowns at the same time. It's because we know that this is all a mess. This is all an act. And it's not always a nice act. It can be very mischievous, or canaille, as the Cajuns say.
Oh, that's right. It's your favorite word.
That's my favorite word. So yeah, once that amygdala starts firing with this fear, we kind of reinforce it by not facing it or dealing with it. And then the amygdala gets primed to see it again. So you wouldn't end up at the clown motel with the cemetery next door with all the clowns outside. You would just be deeply bothered by it until you really kind of faced what it was behind it that truly terrifies you.
Speaking of clown motel, I was going to mention that here in a second.
Yeah.
But let's talk about horror clowns that have become
horror clowns.
Horror clowns. Oh, I love them horror clowns. Horror clowns. They have become kind of like institutions in our, in film. I mean, Pennywise with this It stuff. I mean, even before the new movies came out, Pennywise was a lot of people's first introduction, that's my age anyway, first introduction to horror and so that was built in early because that miniseries came out in like 1990. I was 9 years old. I watched the whole thing start to finish. And I remember just being like so freaked out. And of course I subjected my children to the miniseries not too long ago. And it
was pretty classic.
Actually, both of them, I think, but didn't both of them say they didn't think it was that scary?
Yeah.
Or was it Hudson that got really scared?
Hudson got scared at first, but yeah, he's still in that kind of fantasy phase in his life. I don't know if he'll ever outgrow it, which I don't want to encourage it.
No, I love it
to be outgrown. Stay imaginative, stay creative. But
yeah, but and then we have these characters, in horror, Captain Spaulding and Art the Clown and Twisty and the Joker and all of these guys who are just burned in our memories. They're very iconic horror characters, and I love it, man. I love me some horror clowns. So horror clowns, not horror clowns. I love some horror clowns too.
So horror clowns.
It's a whole Pornhub category again.
Oh man.
The clown porn.
Gross.
Come on.
Ew.
You dig some clown porn.
No, thank you.
Come on.
No.
Honka honka. Beep, beep.
Oh my God. Right. I think you're into it. Let's talk about what you're into, because
let's talk about what I'm not. The shorter list would be what I'm not into.
It's true. Fucking sex clown.
All right. Let's dive into let's just get into the horror movies here. With our honorable mention for today, which is Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Like any other night, then something happened.
You see that?
Something different.
It's no shooting star.
Why here? Why now? Why clowns? They've been knocking them dead all over the universe.
What are you gonna do? Knock my block off?
Soon they'll be doing it at a theater near you.
Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Pizza.
Maybe they're just cruising through the galaxy and stopped here for a bite to eat.
You don't need a police, pal. You need a psychiatrist. They want to play games? They're messing with the wrong guy.
What are you in for?
Killer clowns from outer space. It's crazy.
All right, really quickly before we get into Killer Clowns from Outer Space, I have to give a shout out and a little honorable mention to
A mini mention?
Clown Motel. Little bit of a because it was all filmed at the Clown Motel. If you haven't seen the Clown Motel, it's in Tonopah, Nevada, which is about 3.5 hours south of where we are here in Reno. And so anytime we drive between Reno and Vegas, which is like 7 hours, by the way, people, we do not live
very
next to-
far apart.
Reno and Vegas are nowhere near each other. So when you're flying into Vegas, don't call us to come meet you. Like, hey, I'm in Vegas. You should come. Like, it's a long ways away. But Tonopah is like 3.5 hours away. And it's this little mining town, you know, real small little place, but they have a Clown Motel. And look it up online if you haven't
Straight
seen
up.
it. We've stopped there and taken pictures and gone inside. And it's literally, you walk in it's got a giant Clown Motel sign with a big creepy clown. And then the whole outside's decorated in clowns. And then you go inside to the office and there's just wall, like floor to ceiling,
Clowns.
clown dolls, clown
Everywhere.
stuff. There's just clown everywhere. And the rooms are all decorated in the motel like clowns. We wanted to go there this weekend and record. We actually considered driving down there just to record the episode in the Clown Motel, which would have been really fun, but it was Labor Day weekend and we felt like that was a dumb idea.
Well, the last time we were there, though, it was so fantastic. We explored the graveyard that is literally right next door. And then we happened to be there at the time that they were filming Clown Motel.
Filming Clown Motel. Yeah. Yeah. And it has some kind of big horror icons in it. It has, gosh, I'm drawing a blank right now, but it has the original, it has Ari Lehman, who was the original, Jason that came up out of the water in the first one, the kid. It has Tony Moran, who was one of the original Michael Myers shapes, I believe. So two really cool, like kind of horror icons were there filming while we were there, and they were eating breakfast or something, so we didn't want to go bother them.
But us and the boys, we saw them.
Yeah,
we could at least say that we were in the same room.
So Clown Motel, I found it very enjoyable. I found it at Walmart the other day and bought it. It's not a super high budget movie, but it's fun. And if you like the clown stuff, you'll really enjoy it. And the synopsis for this movie is: ghost hunters encounter a group of Las Vegas partygoers at an old motel where the ghosts of clowns who once dwelled there put the unwitting visitors through a violent nightmare.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. So check out Clown Motel. Really fun. Just came out.
Tonopah, Nevada.
Good times. Stay there if you have a chance. If you ever drive through there. They just remodeled. They remodeled the whole outside since we've been there. They remodeled.
Yeah. Looks like it belongs on a street in New Orleans now.
Yeah.
Very bright.
Very bright. So cool movie. Check out Clown Motel. I like it. All right. Let's get into one of the most
good Lord
bonkers fun clown movies to ever have been created. Killer Clowns from Outer Space from 1988.
And it shows.
What shows? The 88?
The 88.
There's a lot of, man, I'm really burping up some stuff.
Wow. Is this going to be the entire episode?
I don't know. It's like a burp, like a vomit burp. Yeah, a little
I'm
bit.
I'm so sorry, folks. He's disgusting sometimes.
Vomit burp. It's great because you get to taste your food twice.
Even worse.
Killer Clowns from Outer Space, directed by Steven Chiodo, which was part of the Chiodo. CHIODO. I'm gonna say Cheeto. Part of the Chiodo brothers, which is Stephen, Charles, and Edward. And these guys were special effects artists, which really shows in Killer Clowns from Outer Space. They were really big in claymation, big in stop motion, big in animatronics, big in puppets. And they did effects for Critters, for Ernest Scared Stupid, which you were saying that they used these same clowns for Ernest Scared Stupid, just
Yeah, they just refurbished them.
Like
the body suits and the
were they
heads and
trolls or
stuff.
something?
They became trolls. Yeah, it was like Ernest Scared Stupid, and they were the trolls in it. I think it was Scared Stupid.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's awesome. And Team America World Police, they did a lot of the puppet stuff. Fuck yeah. That's funny. I put fuck yeah at the end of the next thing I wrote, but not after Team America World Police. That's weird. Yeah, because I said, get this. They created Large Marge.
Fuck yeah.
From Pee-wee's Big Adventure. And then I had ... fuck yeah. Not after Team America World Police. But yeah, how cool is that? They did the Large Marge scene from Pee-wee's Big Adventure. That was the Cheeto brothers.
You can really see it.
So very cool. Well, the synopsis for this movie, when teenagers Mike and Debbie see a comet crash outside their sleepy small town, they investigate and discover a pack of murderous aliens who look very much like circus clowns. They try to warn the local authorities, but everyone assumes their story is a prank. Meanwhile, the clowns set about harvesting and eating as many people as they can. It's not until they kidnap Debbie that Mike decides it's up to him to stop the clowns' bloody rampage.
That's not really what happens.
Totally what happens. What do you mean it's not really what happens?
I mean, it is and it isn't. There's a lot of madness that happens in between.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's a blast. This movie, I didn't even write down a lot of notes on it because I just didn't. I was so engrossed when I was watching it that I just didn't even write anything down. The clowns themselves are like freaking works of art. Like they are amazing.
They're awful animatronic Chuck E. Cheese clown aliens.
I don't think they're animatronic, are they? I think there's people inside of them.
There is, but the faces are
definitely
animatronic.
Yeah. Their faces are animatronic?
In order to move them up and down, they have to have some sort of ability,
Maybe.
right?
I should have probably looked into how they made the puppets. Or
you should have done more.
The creatures. I should have done more of a deep dive for this one. But you wrote down a lot of notes. You watched it. Tell me what you liked about.
So what I noticed
Clowns from Outer Space
was it feels like it kind
other
of
than the awesome Dickies song that starts the movie off. By the way, I got to give
really
a shout out
fun.
to that. The Dickies were just here in Reno a few weeks ago, and I missed them.
Oh,
they just reunited and started touring again. So I wish I would have gone to that. I had some friends that went.
In case you guys didn't know, Drew has FOMO, which is the fear of missing out.
Is that an official phobia?
I don't know. I'll have to look into it. I'm sure.
Fomophobia?
It works. No, but what I felt this movie did was parodize kind of like Invasion of the Body Snatchers, The Blob, Cocoon, with like zombie aliens kind of, because they could be shot in the nose and be killed, kind of like aliens,
which is hilarious.
Could destroy the brain.
You got to hit them
right
in their red nose and then they explode.
And so they're
first they arrive. They show up in a circus tent. In a spaceship that looks like a circus tent
in the forest,
in the middle of the forest, right? And Debbie and Mike,
who, by the way, were in an inflatable raft in the back of his car, which I don't know why.
That's a really good idea. In the back of his car, or is it the back of a truck?
Car.
Why
it was covered. It was like a station wagon type car too, and
it's more comfortable.
Not really. You already don't have a lot of room to move.
So they show up, right, and then this couple, Mike and Debbie, see these aliens, and they try to these circus clown aliens, whatever you want to call them, and try to convince the police that there's something going on, that these things are invading their town, and then they spend the rest of the movie basically trying to convince the officers that this is going on, and then the last half of the movie they're chasing these aliens, trying to kill them and get rid of them and send them back to their planet.
Yeah. What I found very unnecessary was that Pooh the dog goes missing within the first few minutes of the aliens' arrival. So I'm not very happy with that director of this movie. Why do you got to do that to a dog?
Aliens love dogs. I was going to say cats because of Alf, but I had that mixed up.
There was also a ridiculously long shower scene without any like nudity at all.
Boring.
It was super tacky.
Boring.
And kind of boring. So
yeah, the one thing this movie could have used was more titties. Definitely didn't have any. PG-13, but we could show it to our kids, I guess. Well, it
was very low budget. I mean, like my favorite part in the whole movie was the blow up dog balloon animal that was going to sniff out the two humans,
that was rad.
and they had to cover the balloon animal in latex because it kept popping when it was like running across the forest ground. So that was really cute.
So they covered the balloon itself in latex so that it wouldn't pop.
Yeah.
when they were doing
because the
scene.
first few trials, it would pop like immediately on a pine cone or something.
The balloon animal was like alive.
It like wiggled.
They had all these little things like the popcorn. Like the popcorn was alive and would turn into little mini.
That was the most
monsters.
expensive prop. Did you know that? The popcorn machine?
Oh, really?
That was their most expensive prop.
Huh.
And
I guess all the shit that they had there, that was the most expensive.
Yeah,
That's
and
funny.
I guess like the popcorn babies were baby clowns.
Yeah.
Baby clown aliens.
Yeah. They came out of the toilet and they came out of the sink and all over the place.
But they were like little
bathroom.
corn kernels in there at first, which I feel like you would notice if they were in your bathroom.
Yeah, they were just on the floor. Like
maybe
right at
just
her feet.
me.
It's like I
maybe she's got kids and you never know where you're going to find food particles. I don't know.
I mean, if you got a handful of popcorn on your floor in your bathroom, you're probably going to notice.
I would think so. But there was a lot of other illogical things aside from that, kind of like the how the dudes got an ice cream truck in order to get girls. And I was like, are you trying to get 7-year-old girls?
No, they were driving to like the makeout point and being like, there was one line. I wish I had written it down. It was like, hey, stop boning and start,
Conan?
Start something like there was something like that. They were trying to convince all the like kids that were like getting it onto the back of the cars to come get ice cream, which just doesn't seem the whole premise seems a little flawed.
Yeah. The other favorite part though was when the police chief becomes a ventriloquist at the hands of one of the gnarly
the alien becomes a ventriloquist.
Yeah.
The clown becomes a ventriloquist and uses the chief as a puppet.
Yeah.
To communicate. I
really
also like
scene.
the shadow puppets that the clown was making on the wall. They did some really cool things. And I think one of the things about this movie that's really fun, if you haven't seen it, you definitely need to see it.
It's a good time.
I love it. I think it's so much fun. It's got so many cool, like just visually, it's really, really, really fun. And at Universal's Halloween Horror Nights coming up, which opens, I think, like next week.
September.
Yeah, like on the 10th.
Certain dates.
10 days. September 1st is tomorrow.
Yeah.
Holy crap. What happened? You guys will be getting this on September 2nd. It'll already be September for 2 days by the time you hear this.
Damn. What are you doing with your lives?
Yeah, seriously. But Halloween Horror Nights is doing a maze. They do the mazes and they do different movie themed mazes, and they're doing a Killer Clowns from Outer Space maze,
That's
which is
badass.
fucking perfect. If you watch the movie, it's like being when you're inside the tent thing, it's like being in a giant maze. So if they create it like that, I mean, which they will,
brilliant.
It's going to be a blast. Like that would be so fun. I want to go down there for that so bad. It'd be really, really fun. So really great movie. Great honorable mention. Killer Clowns from Outer Space. To kick off our clown series here. I also, we dove into so I got to talk about this real quick. We dove into right before we got started recording. We were watching a documentary about scary clowns, like scary clowns. I have to look this up real quick.
By a super pretentious YouTuber.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. So, hold on one second. I got to look up the name of it. So it's called The History of Scary Clowns. It's on YouTube. Look it up. The YouTube channel is In Praise of Shadows. And I got to say, it was a really thorough, really interesting hour and 15-minute long kind of documentary on the history of clowns and horror. And it was actually really well done, except the narrator, the guy who runs this channel, I guess. What a douchebag. Like the most pretentious film douchebag ever. Like every movie was like, yeah, this movie's just not good. It's not good at all. I don't like it. It has to, it just went off on like the most minutia of critiques on every single movie. And then half the time he'd go, but you should really watch it. It's good. So he would like bash on it for like 5 minutes. And then, but I will say it's worth a watch because it really was thorough. Like maybe watch it on mute. I don't know. That'd be really tough. maybe if it has, I don't think it has closed captions because it's on YouTube, but if you had closed captions, it'd be better. Although reading it might be even worse, but definitely worth a watch just because it really outlines
pretty thorough
a lot of movies that I had never heard of. And some that I'm like, oh my gosh, I've got a week until the next episode. I'm going to watch some of these movies. Also, another one that you should check out is it Blood Rage? No, Blood. What is that one? Blood Harvest? Blood Harvest with Tiny Tim. Go to Shudder if you have Shudder, and look up Blood Harvest. Look up Joe Bob's show, the series that he did, and go to Joe Bob's Blood Harvest episode. Tiny Tim as a clown, the Marvelous. What is it? The Marvelous Mervo is the name of his clown.
Mm-hmm.
The Marvelous Mervo. It is fucking bonkers. Like such a bonkers.
It's pretty disturbing
and super disturbing. But Joe Bob has amazing commentary on
yeah,
it.
it's fantastic.
Because he actually interviewed Tiny Tim like back when he made that movie, and has it all and shows clips from it. And it is freaking great. Like so great.
It's a good time.
Really interesting insights into it and a really creepy clown movie. So check that one out.
He makes movies so much better.
He does.
I love Joe Bob.
His commentaries are awesome. So with that, let's get into our feature presentation, which I know you really enjoyed.
Fucking loved this movie.
Yeah. And I really loved it the first time I saw it, and it has gotten a lot of praise, and it has become kind of a little, it's got some momentum behind it. And they're even coming out with a second one, working on a second one. So, very excited about doing this one. 2017's Terrifier, our feature presentation.
And now our feature presentation.
What if that guy did this to your car?
What guy? The clown? You really think someone slashed my tires?
Well, he knows this is your car. He saw us getting into it earlier.
Hey, handsome! My friend wants your number.
You.
What is it, Tara?
Dawn and I are sort of stranded. She has a flat tire and no spare, and I was kind of hoping you could pick us up.
We are not safe here. This guy is armed and he's a total maniac.
What the hell is wrong with you?
What, did you think he was going to hack me up into little pieces or something?
All right, 2017. Actually, when I say 2017, I'm not sure exactly because it like came out in the like what's the word? Festival circuit, like in like 2016. And it didn't, I don't think it ever got like an official streaming release on Netflix until like 2018. So split the difference.
I don't know
It's
why
been
not.
around. Yeah. And it's actually been around for a while. That the character of Terrifier centers around this, if you haven't seen it, centers around a character named Art the Clown. And I think he's going to become an iconic slasher, like an iconic horror character. I guarantee it. But the character itself goes back. Damien Leone, the director, had done a couple of short films with this character, had done a little feature called All Hallows Eve, which I believe is, I saw it streaming on, I think, Tubi or one of those apps and watched it a while back. But then did a bigger release of this or furthered this story through this movie Terrifier. And Terrifier was done on a very small budget, under $100,000.
Whoa.
I believe.
Wow.
That's what David Howard Thornton
That's right.
said. And honestly, like he hit the gold mine when he got David Howard Thornton to play Art the Clown.
Brilliant.
Because this guy just was the perfect person for this role. Because this clown's almost like a mime. Like
He is a mime.
He literally does not make a sound.
He doesn't even scream when he
No.
gets like shot or stabbed or anything. He makes zero sound.
No, he is absolutely 100% silent through the whole thing. So all of the expressions and everything have to be physical. So everything's physical. It's physical facial expressions and body language and all that kind of stuff.
And eye movements, and he had prosthetics all over his cheekbones and his face. So he really and no eyebrows. So he really had to communicate so much with his mouth and his eyes and his body
And his hands and his,
he used it so well. And I fell in love with Art the Clown. Like I loved his character so much.
Yeah, it was one of those where you really are, it's a kind of rooting for the slasher kind of movie, right? Because you really just love this character, even though he's
so bad.
He's just super depraved because he's like that mischievous kind of clown we were talking about. He's very like, he's not, it's almost like he's not scary. He's just like, I don't even know how to describe it.
He's the Sour Patches Kid. First he's sweet, then he's sour.
Yeah, he's got that weird, like, kind of like, where you're like, I kind of like this guy. He's kind of funny. He's kind of,
To be fair, he's fucking hilarious.
He's great.
He masters hilarity and massively creepy and scary so well throughout the whole movie. Like, he goes terrifying and then he comes back and he's hilarious. And it's just, he does so well with this role.
Well, we're going to get in a little deeper into the movie too with this one. So the synopsis is really basic, because it's a really basic storyline. A maniacal clown terrorizes 3 young women on Halloween night and everyone else who stands in his way.
Basic bitches get annihilated.
And it's starring the aforementioned David Howard Thornton as Art the Clown, Jenna Cannell as Tara, Catherine Corcoran as Dawn, and Samantha Scafidi as Victoria. And David Howard Thornton, I've heard him interviewed, and we listened to an interview with him the other day. He was a teacher, like an elementary school teacher, I think, and a stage actor.
Which he would have been the fucking best.
I'm sure
he reminds me of Hank's elementary teacher.
Yeah, a little bit.
What's his name?
The one that left the school.
Mr. Pfaff.
Pfaff, yeah. Yeah, he does. But the guy is also like a badass impressionist and does voices like really, really well. In fact, he's the Joker on Nightwing. So he does voiceover stuff, which is so funny because he does not make a sound in this movie. And yet he's like this amazing,
so good.
He's like this really amazing voice. He does these amazing characters. You can go online and listen to him do 110 impressions in 10 minutes, which is pretty cool.
I think you should be him for Halloween, except
I'm thinking about it.
I don't think you can stay silent all night.
Are you trying to shut me up for an entire night? Is that what you're doing right now?
I don't think you can do it.
Oh, okay. I see what you're doing here. I think that's very, very crafty of you.
Ooh.
He was the Grinch understudy for a touring version of How the Grinch Stole Christmas. And he was talking about how the lead who was playing the Grinch was Stefan Stefansson.
Come on, parents. We can do better than that.
He was Icelandic, so
okay.
You can give him a break. Which basically means Stefan, the son of Stefan, I believe.
Oh, well, that's convenient.
But Thornton credits him. That guy, what was the stupid show that guy was on? Dang it, Lazy Town. The guy was the Robbie Rotten in Lazy Town. The boys used to watch it all the time. So I used to watch it. He was the one with like the weird prosthetic face that was all like, do you remember that show at all?
Yeah, I think I repressed my memory of it because it was kind of creepy.
But he was so physical in that part. Like, that guy was really good at physical acting. And so he taught him, Thornton a whole bunch about physical comedy and physical acting. Thornton idolizes Jim Carrey. He grew up watching the Marx Brothers and Charlie Chaplin and all these physical actors and has like embraced that. And when he came in to do the audition, Damien Leone, he walks in the room and he's like, everybody's reading for different roles and they all have scripts. And he's like,
where's mine?
I don't have a script. And he walks in and he's like, hey, I didn't get a script. And he's like, oh no, there's no script because there's no lines.
Nope.
And so he said, okay, I want you to act out a scene where you are chopping somebody's head off. And so he did a whole scene where he was like sawing somebody's head off, which he actually does in the movie. Sawing somebody's head off, and I guess he picks up the head, does this all like kind of mime work where he's like picking up the head and then he like licks it and then he like gets grossed out.
All
so he
very
grabs
physical.
a salt shaker and like put some salt on it, and then got the role, from there.
Dude'd be really good at like couples party games.
Yeah, he would. He'd be great at charades. So the guy's just a really, really, really tremendous physical actor, and he did such a badass job in this role. So the movie starts out as we roll into it here. We see that there's this woman being interviewed by a news anchor, and we can't see her face. We just see like the back of her head, and she's talking about how she had been attacked by Art the Clown, and what happened to her, and kind of explaining this whole deal. And then it shows her face, and her face is just like
mangled,
totally mangled, totally deformed, all messed up from her attack of Art the Clown. And afterwards we see the news anchor talking on the phone, and she's like, oh my gosh, it made me so sick sitting there next to her, blah, 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 all that stuff. And we hear something rustling in the background, and the girl that she was interviewing attacks her and like pokes her eyeballs out and smashes her face all up and basically turns her into her. And then we kind of cut. Next thing we see is two girls in a restaurant, and they're walking down the street. It's Halloween night. They're wearing their little,
they're slutty Halloweeners,
slut number 1 and slut number 2 costumes. And
it's an American tradition. That's
right. Slutty fill in the blank. That's what everybody's costume is. That's what I'm going to go as this year.
Not me.
No? Jaws, Sharkhead. Anybody saw her?
I was also Quail Man.
Oh, yeah.
That was a good one.
So the girls are wandering around the streets, and they end up getting in a restaurant, and they're chatting it up, whatever. And Art the Clown, here comes this creepy clown walking in
with his trash bag full of goodies.
Yeah, and they had seen him on the street briefly, and then he walks in with this big old trash bag, and he just sits down like across from them.
Most awkward staring contest commences.
Yeah, so he starts looking at him all creepily and smile. He has a smile where he like does this like teeth,
but he has no smile because
like
it's like blackness surrounding the mouth, and
then
the teeth are kind of
real rotted teeth,
black and kind of a little red, and so you just can't see anything really. It looks
so fucked up,
gross.
Yeah, but it's like it's just amazing, like so creepy. And so the girls are like, one of the girls is like, dude, that guy's super creepy. I don't like that. The other girl's like, oh my gosh, like
she goes and takes selfies with him.
Yeah, she goes and takes a selfie with him and does all this shit, and then they leave and they go outside.
Well, no. He
gets kicked out.
He goes into the bathroom.
Right. He goes in the bathroom.
And then he does way worse than whack it. He that was some prison solitary confinement style artwork in there.
Yeah. He shit all over the bathroom and then wrote art in his shit.
It's shit and blood.
Oh, it's gnarly. And he gets kicked out of the restaurant. Clearly, he walks out, back out, and then the owner of the restaurant's like, "What the fuck?" and like comes screaming at him and kicks him out. So then we see the girls leaving. They take off, and they find a flat tire on their car.
Womp womp.
And they're like, "Fuck, man, this is just what we need."
Definitely wasn't Art.
And so this is Dawn and Tara are the two girls. Dawn was the one who took pictures with Art the Clown. Tara was the one who was trying to be more cautious. And Dawn or do I have that the other way around?
No, you're right.
Around,
Dawn was the stupid slut.
Was she?
Yeah. Because she turned it into the chest plate that Art wore.
Oh, okay. So then Tara calls her sister, Victoria, to come pick her up. So Victoria's like, okay, I'll come pick you up, blah, blah. We come back to the restaurant, and we see that Art has come back to the restaurant and turned the restaurant owner's head into a candle.
Yeah.
So there's just like a head with some flames coming
out of the face.
And the other guy, the other worker there, sees this head candle and goes, "Oh shit!" And then Art goes and commences to stab him in the face and the eyeballs.
Ugh.
And keep on hacking.
I don't know why
just some good old slasher gore, great gore.
This movie does have great gore, but I don't know why he had to do like the Three Stooges style eye gouge all the time. That really bugged me. I hated it.
I loved it. It came up a lot.
I hated it.
That was good.
Hated it.
So then Tara, our more conservative of the two girls, has to pee. And rather than pee on the street that nobody's on, like just hanging your ass out the side of the door, which as good red-blooded Americans, she decides
red-blooded drunk Americans.
She decides she's going to go while they're waiting for her sister on this like dark street to just some random dude that's smoking a cigarette outside of a warehouse and ask him if she can use
because that's safe.
His bathroom. Guy turns out to be actually nice, and he's a pest control guy. And he's like, oh man, I'm just getting ready to bomb this place. So, yeah, go ahead, and takes her to the bathroom. The bathroom is nasty. And David Howard Thornton commented on that and said, yeah, that everything in that warehouse was exactly how we found it.
That was just as nasty as it was.
They didn't do anything to it. That was how it looked. Which is gnarly.
And he had to like lay on the floor and stuff.
Yeah. He was like, it was pretty bad. So Dawn hears, while Tara's in taking a leak, Dawn hears about the murders on the radio. 2 men found dead, blah, blah, like
man dressed as a clown.
Police are on the lookout for man dressed as a clown. And so Dawn's like freaking out. She kind of turns to look out the window, and then she turns back to her seat thinking that Tara had just gotten back in, and it's Art, the clown.
And he's so happy to see her.
He's very happy to see her. He's smiley, very happy.
He is very happy.
Yeah. He gets a lot of joy out of tormenting people. There's no doubt about it.
He has found his joy.
So then we have this weird creepy lady in the warehouse holding a doll, which I never really figured out.
She's like
why she's there.
Creepy, demented transient lady with a porcelain baby.
But she looks way too like nice to be a transient, like clean. Like she didn't look like she was living in a warehouse. But I thought her character was odd. But she runs into Dodd and she starts rambling about stuff. And next thing we know, Art the Clown shows up in the warehouse, and he's posing all happy and creepy for Tara. So she freaks out. And then he draws her basically down into or captures her and ties her to a chair. And then there's something under a big cloak.
But before that, he fucks with her mind and like takes a hammer and acts like he's gonna.
Oh, that's right.
He's got this like this hefty bag of like crazy killer tools, which I mean, hefty. He carried a lot of sharp objects around in that, and it never ripped.
No, that's a good solid bag right there.
Yeah.
That's the kind that you want to use.
Terrifier brought to you by Hefty.
For your branches and your outside material. For sure. It won't break through.
Or when you want to bring some materials to make her insides come outside.
Ooh, yes, which he does in the next scene, right? So we reveal what he has under the tarp.
Ta-da!
Ta-da!
It's your friend.
It's Dawn, and Dawn is upside down and naked.
Super naked.
Yeah. And well, actually he does. She has her panties on at first. And then the first scene,
he rips them. Yeah.
You see him just rip them off.
Because that's what's important.
Yeah. So,
because he could saw through the entire pelvis, but not the panties.
So hold on. Spoiler alert. Jeez. Why give away the
sorry.
That's the best part. Gosh. Now everybody knows. Now it's so fun. Why don't you want to tell it anymore? So yeah, he pulls out a saw and just starts going to town.
Like medieval Europe style.
Goes vagina first
and just
all the way down to her neck.
All the way down.
Yep. And we see her intestines flop on the ground, which another fun fact from David Howard Thornton was originally when they had filmed the scene that the intestines were made out of like bloated sausages and like some meats, right? And they had to postpone the filming for like 2 weeks. And the special effects guy had not put
he left it in his garage.
Had left him in the garage and didn't put him in the refrigerator. So when that scene was going on, he accidentally sawed into one of the sausages and broke the casing. And like the smell, he said, was just so gnarly. Everybody was gagging, like the camera guys and everything. It's like some serious method acting, man. That's like it's getting into your part.
That's
right there.
really, really a little too far.
Yeah, it was great. So, but yeah, he saws through her entire body, which suspending disbelief a little bit. Which I don't think you can do with a little handsaw very easily.
No.
However, it is very similar. So it was actually set up very similar to how they executed some executions were done in Europe in medieval times. That whole sawing people right in half, like
right from the vagina or the booty hole.
Yeah, right down through. Not fun.
My safe word is pineapple juice.
That's your favorite video online.
It is right now.
So interesting fact too, the actress, Catherine Corcoran, had to get fitted for a mold of her body so that he could saw through a mold. Right. And they forgot the anti-adhesive when they put it on her.
Fucking my worst nightmare.
So
no,
they had forgotten the anti-adhesive agent that allows it to peel off easily.
Oh.
So she was stuck in that body cast for like a long time while they like had to chip away at it and like take off piece by piece. So he said he gave her a lot of props for how well she handled like a lot of really.
Then she had to like hang upside down for a while,
and they can only film in like 30-second increments or like a minute increments or whatever to make sure that she wasn't getting injured in the process. And it turned out she ended up with like an inner ear problem because of it. So there was some hardcore filming stuff going on, and so listen to some interviews with David Howard Thornton because he goes into a lot of different stuff that had to do with the filming of this movie, which was pretty interesting. So then Tara gets away, right?
Yeah.
So she's running around the warehouse. Art pops up wearing the upper
chesticles,
half, the tits of Dawn. Basically, he had skinned her and was wearing her upper half of her body
and tucking his penis.
Tucking down in like what's his name from Silence of the Lambs, like Buffalo Bill from Silence of the Lambs. And he has this like kind of skinny body, so he kind of has a feminine kind of body, like at least in the movie, like real skinny face.
He also made a lot of more feminine
girl.
movements too. Yeah. And so he just fucking with her. And then he shoots her, instead of like stabbing her and having fun with her. After a while, he's just like, fuck this bitch. Like,
right.
He shoots her.
Right. Which you could tell. And it was interesting because he said, they said that's like the most, you could tell he wasn't enjoying that kill. That's not the one he wanted. No, he didn't want to just shoot her. He was kind of, the only time you ever see him kind of pissed off was when he had to shoot her. He was like just getting frustrated.
This was his face. Like he goes to shoot her, he shoots her, and he wants to shoot her again, but then the gun doesn't go off. He's out. And then his face is like, damn it, Cindy, I told you never to use my tools. Like just so fucking like disappointed.
Yeah. Not happy he had to just shoot her.
Damn it.
So then
he goes to try to take a selfie. He's like, oh yeah, selfie time. Cause if you don't post it didn't happen.
It's true.
This guy's nuts.
Yeah. And then he finds the worker, this worker that's in the warehouse. Right. And kills this guy by like graphically sawing his head off.
Yep.
And then boots it across the floor, which I liked the added touch of him, like happily booting it across the floor.
He was very playful in that.
He was. When does
the time when he steals the porcelain baby from the transient woman living in the building and pretends like he's going to kill it. And she's like begging for its life.
Yeah.
Like, have you never felt another other's touch? Can you show no mercy?
And she's got this little like fake doll that
it's petting. Like a porcelain doll. And then he just leans into her and like sucks his thumb and then like starts rocking and self-soothing.
So
and it was
creepy.
Really interesting.
But I liked how he used a lot of like multiple methods of killing. Like he shot her, which was his least favorite. You could tell he tried to suffocate, sawed in half, sharp objects, that weird cat of nine tails.
Like he had a stick with like some chains
scissors
on the end that had it was scalpels and scissors were stuck into the chain links so that it was like this fucking wicked ass cat of nine tails.
He started beating Tara with it. No, it wasn't even Tara. At that point, Tara was dead, wasn't she?
Tara was sawed in half.
No, Tara had been shot.
Oh, shot.
Remember?
I mean,
she came back to life like later. Too.
She got shot like in the face.
She got shot
twice,
a whole bunch and she came back to life somehow.
Yeah, it was really.
So Tara's sister now has showed up, Victoria, and she starts wandering around the warehouse trying to find sisters, and she runs into like Dawn's sawed in half body, and she is freaking out. She's running around all over the place, and at some point, Art the Clown draws her in to see her sister, who's got her head like. Her brain was showing, and it was just a bunch of gnarly, like gory shit going on. So checking to make sure we got our time. So then now it's just Victoria left, which I thought was one of the weaker parts of the movie was that we knew nothing about Victoria. She was just random, like Tara's sister, and she shows up, and now she's like the final girl.
Well,
the other
no,
girls are already dead.
It was Tara's sister, and we know that she's in school to be a doctor.
True.
That's all we need to know.
I guess we do know more about her, but we don't know that we know more about her
Right.
yet. I guess. So that's true. So the whole thing ends in this culmination where Art the Clown goes outside and grabs a car, like a truck, drives through the warehouse door, hits Victoria in the face. Cops show up, and he is literally eating her face, sitting on top of her,
like
eating,
Florida Man style.
eating her Florida Man style.
Florida Man style.
Starts eating her face, and then as the cops surround him, he blows his head off. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So it's over. Right.
Womp,
Womp
womp.
womp. Game over. Then we cut to the coroner. Right. Coroner. They're talking about the bodies coming in and all that stuff. They said, "Oh yeah, this one's the guy who did all the murders. He's in one of these bags." So everybody leaves, and it's just the coroner by himself. And he's like, "Oh, I got to find out who did this shit. What a fucking freak." And he unzips Art the Clown's bag, and the lights start to flicker. Lights flicker. Everything goes crazy. Phone rings. Here's Crazy Chick's voice in the background. And of course, Art sits up like Jason style, grabs his throat, and we cut.
And we cut to black.
And then we see the movie end with Victoria leaving the hospital. We see her from behind there. She's got a wheelchair, they're pushing a wheelchair. And then we flash to the front of her, and she's got the fucked up face.
We see her face.
She's the fucked up face chick from the beginning. So the whole movie was like her backstory and showing what had happened to her. Which sets up, I think, really fun for a sequel too, because she went on a murderous rampage or killed the network chick. So hopefully they kind of go into her story a little bit too. What fun. What good, gory slasher fun. A great freaking slasher. Like, there's no story here, or very, very light story. It is just slasher goodness from start to finish. And I really enjoyed it. Didn't you?
I did. It was a good break from the 3-ring shit show of my life.
At least your shit show wasn't as bad as that shit show.
That's very true. Perspective.
That's right. Gives you perspective. What's funny? We were watching that pretentious ass documentary of this kid. I swear this kid's probably like 23 and just got his film, like,
he's going to NYU film school.
He's going to like NYU film school, because like everything was like just soaking with like pretentiousness.
Apparently he didn't listen that in documentary style, you're not supposed to impose your own opinion so much.
Like every movie, he's like just giving his own opinion about everything. Anyways, but what he said about Terrifier, he was like, did the same thing where he's like, yeah, it was, there are parts of this I really liked and blah, blah. But then he was like, he talked about how like the female characters, kind of gave that like feminist, like trope about how the female characters didn't have enough voice. And it was all about, there was no strong characters there. And who gives a shit? It was about Art the Clown.
That's about a demented clown.
And he killed,
not about feminism.
He killed all the dudes. He killed all the chicks.
He killed everyone equally.
He killed everybody in his path, because that is what this movie was about.
He kills you no matter what you identify as.
It didn't matter.
It didn't matter. He would kill you.
It was all about just this slasher doing his thing.
And it was,
and doing it brilliantly.
Beautiful. Like, I loved it so much, because I know that Freddie kind of has that humor piece to it as well, but I felt like Art and his physical comedy really sold it for me. Like, I wanted to watch that movie again because he made me laugh so hard.
I can't wait. I can't wait for the sequel. So there is a sequel coming out. Damien Leone he's already written it. And they should be probably in the process of getting it going. I think it's gonna be more major studio, more big budget, and I hope that doesn't ruin it. But I'm really looking forward to seeing more of David Howard Thornton, because that guy is just
brilliant,
amazing. And quickly going up my list of like top clowns, no doubt about it.
For sure.
Probably number 2. I'm a big Pennywise fan, but which we will talk in depth about next week. But Art the Clown is he's probably my number 2.
He's a close second.
He's a close second. So much fun with this movie. And I'm glad I got to introduce it to you.
Yes. Thank you.
I watched it for the first time last year, and it made my top 10 of of 2018 that I made my top 10 list.
I know why.
Yeah, and because I had it pretty high up too, like fifth or sixth or something. It was up there. It's a solid movie. So check it out, Terrifier. It's on Netflix, so you can watch it on Netflix. Crazy Clowns from Outer Space was on Amazon Prime. So if you have those
Killer Clowns.
What did I say?
Crazy Clowns.
Crazy Clowns. Speaking of Crazy Clowns, we didn't talk about Insane Clown Posse at all. I mean,
we will next.
It's your favorite band, so I figured we'd talk about it.
Oh God, no, it's not. Please.
Sorry, Juggalos. We don't have a lot of insane ICP love, but there is a they do the clowns.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we're gonna do part 2 next week, and it's going to be all about Stephen King, all about it. And so go watch it the first couple of nights that it comes out, so that you can listen to this the next episode fresh and ready to hear spoilers on the second part of that movie.
Do it.
Yeah, that'd be fun. So, yeah, stay away from the clowns. You're always trying to rush me at the end.
Because you're just like,
I like to ramble at the end.
You're
all
just
right?
like rambling.
She's giving me like the cut sign, like the hook.
Because you're just no, it's okay. No, it's okay.
Yeah, I like to chat. I like to chat with the audience. All right. I like to chat with my Feardos. Like, break it all down, give a loving moment. The more you know.
This whole thing is a loving moment.
Special. This is my special time. I'm a little hungover and I didn't get a lot of sleep.
You keep using that excuse.
So let's go float the river. So until next time, guys.
Stay afraid. Stay very afraid.